Hi, this is Coralla once again from Coralla Fickler McLean from iStudyGuides.com. And today I'm going to talk about nouns in Spanish, sustantivos in Español. Que no es nada fácil, no? It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. It's not that it's complex and it's, super complicated. It's just that I would say, and I don't like comparing languages, but I would say Spanish has more irregular nouns than English. And one of the reasons that Spanish has more irregular nouns than English is that in English it's just the. You don't have to worry about masculine or feminine. Don't forget, in Spanish, you must worry about if a noun is masculine or feminine. And it's not like you can look at the noun and know. You look at a noun and say, oh, well, that's masculine, obviously. It looks masculine, whatever that would mean, right? Or, oh, that's feminine, obviously. There's something about it that's very feminine, whatever that means. And it's not even consistent. The fact that you speak French doesn't mean that you're going to understand masculine. You'll understand the concept, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll understand masculine and feminine in Spanish, because it'll be different. It will be different. My French is absolutely horrible, so please, anyone who speaks French and they hear me say these words, please do not laugh. But I know in French, a car is feminine. I think it's la voiture or something to that effect. Just try to, remember what a car is in French, and more or less you'll see what I'm trying to say, right? La voiture, or something to that. All right. Where in Spanish, a car, now I say coche. Now some people say carro. For me, a carro is not a coche. Well, it can be a coche, but to me it's more like a stroller or a shopping cart. But whatever it is, el coche, or el carrito, or el carro, right? It's masculine. There's nothing about el coche, about the car, that looks masculine. And in French, it's feminine. Okay. Now, there are nouns that are only for example, coche. When you're talking about a car, you can't talk about a male car and a female car. A car is a car, right? But there are, in a language, the masculine as well as the feminine counterpart, or the feminine as well as the masculine counterpart. That's when it can get complicated. Let me give you an example. Normally speaking, if you're talking about a boy, el muchacho, el niño, no? El chavito, el chavo, no? Okay, el squinkle, no? If you're talking about a boy. Then if you're talking about a girl, which is obviously feminine, is la muchacha, la niña, right? Right? La chava, and chava can have, a chavita can also have other meanings too, especially if you're walking down the street. Yeah, la chavita, ¿qué pasó? Okay, all of that. But then it gets complicated sometimes when sometimes the name is changed. Now, I'm going to be looking down at my book here because, frankly, it's not that I don't know these, but sometimes I forget, especially when you're right on the spot and you're trying to remember. So let me give you some examples. You have el caballo, which is the stallion, it's the horse, what we normally would call the horse. But the mare, which is the female horse, is called la yegua, which is Y-E-G-U-A. Then you have, when you're talking about the chicken, or the fowl, right? You have el gallo, which is the male, and gallo is also used for a male who walks around like he is all of that, and a bag of chips too, you know what I mean? A gallo. And then you have, for the female, la gallina. Now, for husband and wife is interesting. I've heard both. I've heard el marido y la mujer. Now, la mujer can be woman, only woman, right? El marido is only husband. But la mujer can also be wife. So it's the husband y la mujer, which means either, no, it means, in this respect, it means the wife. But I've also heard el esposo y la esposa, where you just have el esposo, which is the husband, y la esposa, which is the wife. But do you know what you call handcuffs in Spanish? Esposas, which is really sort of macho, isn't it? Same like your handcuff, like the woman is sort of like a handcuff, like las esposas, right? Okay. Then you have el rey, and then there is a change to a certain extent. La reina, R-E-I-N-A, la reina. Then you have el yerno, which is the son-in-law, and then you have nuera, which is the daughter-in-law. But let me give you some nouns which are sort of strange. Now, the nouns I'm going to give you, the word remains the same. What changes is the article. The article is either el, a la, los, a la, las. So, for example, modelo. Whether it's a male or a female, it's modelo. But if it's a male model, it's el modelo. If it's a female model, it's la modelo. But you don't say la modela. Okay. Piloto. Piloto remains, I would say, in its masculine form, okay? Because I think originally the only pilots were men. But now if you want to say the female pilot, you say la piloto. So you just change the article. The male pilot would be el piloto. If you want to say soldier, once again, it remains soldado. You don't say soldada. But if it's a male, it's el soldado. If it's a female, it's la soldado. But the O ending remains. Now, sometimes you have, nouns that end in A, but are masculine as well as feminine. For example, you have the word artista. You don't say artisto, which sounds absolutely horrible. I've never heard that in any level of Spanish, right? So it's el or la artista. It ends in A. You have atleta. Excuse my pronunciation if it's not pronounced correctly. Atleta. That's A-T-L-E-T-A. Atleta, the athlete. It's el or la. You never change the ending for the L for it to be O. Then you have colega. Colega is either el or la colega. It doesn't change. The only thing that changes is the article. Then once again, it's espía. You have el or la espía. Let me give you some more examples. You have cantante. Now, cantante is neither in the O or the A ending, right? It's the E ending. No change. So you have el cantante or la cantante, el agente or la agente, el acompañante or la acompañante, el creyente or la creyente, el joven or la joven. Now, I've seen the word abogada, but most of the time, I've seen the word abogado, whether you're talking about el abogado or la abogado. Once again, I guess I've seen the word jefa, but it takes on, well, at least what in Mexican Spanish, it takes on a very derogatory meaning. If you're talking about the boss in your work, you just say la jefe. You don't say la jefa because it takes on a different meaning. Okay. Now, there are some words in which you change the E to the A. For example, el gigante, la giganta. El infante, la infanta. Now that's a false cognate because infante doesn't mean infant. It's the royal prince, right? And la infanta is the royal princess. Now, some words only have masculine meanings, right? So even if you're talking about something that's a female, you still use the masculine article and the word, and it doesn't change. For example, the baby. The baby is not la bebé. It's el bebé. El desastre. El genio. Whether the genio, which is a genius, okay? And you have mal genio, which means something a little bit different, like you have a bad personality or something, right? It doesn't change whether you're talking about masculine or feminine. El ligue. El ligue is It's like, you know, he's your boyfriend or your girlfriend, but not your real boyfriend and a girlfriend. It's more a casual thing, right? El personaje, el sapo. I heard that a lot in the telenovela Betty la Fea. Sapo, and it's un sapo, right? Okay, el tiburón. Tiburón is a shark. Whether it's a male shark or a female shark, it's el tiburón, right? El panda. El panda is the panda. Whether it's a male or female, or el puma. El puma is the puma, right? Or what is it? The mountain lion or something to that effect. The puma, right? Okay. Now, some nouns are always feminine. Let me give you an example. La estrella, whether you're talking about the star or the movie star. La persona. La víctima. La araña. Araña is a spider, whether you're talking about, I guess, a female or male spider. I guess. La ardilla. La ardilla, male or female, is la. La ballena, whether it's a male or female, it's la. And la rana, whether it's a male or female. Then you have the last category, which to me is the most interesting category. When you change the article, you change the meaning of the word. For example, you have el cometa. Cometa, when it's el, it's comet. You know, like the comet in the sky. But when it is la cometa, it's a kite. When you have el trompeta, el trompeta, when it's el, it's a trumpet player. But when it is la, it's the trumpet itself. Once again, when you have capital, el capital, it's money, el dinero, la lana vida, la lana, no? It's money. But when you say la capital, then you're talking about the capital, like the capital of a city or the capital of a state, right? The capital of the United States is Washington, D.C., for example. And the capital of la capital de Nueva York is Albany, I think. Yes, it's Albany. Okay. When you have superventa, when it's el, you're talking about the man who's the top seller. But when you have superventa, when you're talking about la superventa, you're talking about the top sell. Okay, so we have all these cards. We even have websites that has all this information because it's a lot. But it's important because you can see, you can put the wrong article and people will totally misunderstand you. Nouns are important in Spanish and in English. One of the reasons they're not so difficult, I shouldn't say difficult, complex in English, is that we don't have masculine and feminine. But all nouns in Spanish are either masculine or feminine, some both. And sometimes you can tell by the endings, sometimes you can't. But if you want to learn to speak Spanish well, you'll learn these. You can go into our website, download the cards, cut them out, make them into study cards or flashcards, or we call them iStudy cards, and start memorizing them. Because if you, I don't know if you know this or not, Spanish is the second most spoken language on this planet. The first is Mandarin. Frankly, I thought the second would be English, but the second is Spanish. The third, right behind there, not that far behind, is English. And Mandarin is spoken by a lot of people because there are a lot of people. In China, I think it's 2 billion, and that's the standard language of China. But it's spoken in concentrated areas. But in the United States, there's going to be a point in time where if you don't speak Spanish correctly, you're not going to be able to do many things. So this is Coralla Fickle McLean at iStudy Guides talking about irregular nouns. Thank you.